I will be demonstrating this project in Adobe InDesign Creative Cloud 2015. However, 95% of what we'll be doing will work in any version of InDesign past CS6. So first thing we want to do is set up our new document. So go to File, New, Document. We get the New Document dialog box here. We're going to leave Intent at Print, uncheck Facing Pages. We'll start out with 10 pages. Page size letter. If your sizes are not set in picas, we'll change that in a minute. And you want columns too. We want different margin values, so we're going to break that little chain. We'll have our top margin be 4 picas, our bottom margin be 5 picas, our left margin be 5 picas, and our right margin be 4 picas. We don't need a bleed-in slug in this one, so click OK. Your file should look like this. If we immediately go up to your workspace here, and if you're in Essentials, please change to Typography Workspace. That's my favorite workspace, and I always change into it as soon as I sit down to work. And let's look in our Pages panel here. You will see we have our 10 document pages, and up at the top of our Pages panel, you'll see this separate page called A Master. I want you to double click on that and get to Master Page A. What a master page is a formatting page that normally does not print out, but everything that you put on this master page will appear on every page that is based on Master A. So first thing we're going to do is just set up some rules, by which I mean some rulers. If your rulers are not set in picas, please Control-click on the ruler and make sure that it's set up in picas if it's not already. That's important. So you just basically, with your selection tool, which is your black arrow, you're just going to go into that vertical ruler, and first thing we're going to do, it's very simple, is snap a rule to the margin and to the right side of this first column and right there. That's really easy. Now we're going to be using some measurements for our horizontal rules. First we'll just go to the edge of the margin. The second one, and by the way, if you hold down your Shift key, it makes it a little easier to get the measurement to pop to even picas, and you can see up there in my Y box. So I'm holding down my Shift key, it is popping just the way I want. So I'm going to do one here at 8 picas. Holding on my Shift key again, one at 9 picas. Again, looking in my Y box, we're going to go down all the way down to 38 picas. 7, 38. Very good. 39 picas. 40 picas. All the way down to 60 picas. 61 picas. And 64 picas. Very good. Next, we'll be setting up our master page, Master A, with all of the items that you see here. So if you have not already changed to the Typography Workspace, you find yourself in Essentials, change to Typography. Your top panel should be the Pages panel. You'll see your 10 pages there, and what we want to work with is a master. So you just go to A Master there and double click on it, and you'll also see that you're in A Master here in the lower right hand section of your screen. Go to your zoom tool and zoom in on the top right hand part of your document. Choose the Type tool, and in the rectangle formed by your rules and your margins, just create a type frame. Please make sure that your hidden characters are turned on right here so that you see that little hash mark, and type in typeface. Hit return, type font, and digital format. Take your cursor and place it in that first line that says typeface. And now we're going to create our first paragraph style. So if you go over here to the right in your panel section, you should be able to find paragraph styles. You can also find it under Window, Styles, Paragraph Styles, either way. And from the panel menu, choose New Paragraph Style. Make sure that Apply Style to Selection is checked, and you're going to call your first style Typeface. It's going to be based on no paragraph style. You can leave this blank. And for basic character formats, we're going to choose Myriad Pro Regular. And if you don't have Myriad Pro, you can use whatever other font you happen to have in your system. Myriad Pro Regular, size 16 point. And just type in 16 here. Leading can be just 18. And you can leave ligatures checked. We'll do one other thing just in case some of our features include figures. Go down here all the way to where it says Open Type Features and change default figure style to proportional alt style, and you'll see what this does later. Figures, by the way, is the graphic design term for numerals or numbers. So whenever you see figures, that's what it means. So click OK. And you'll see that InDesign has automatically styled this entire paragraph, which means everything from the beginning through that paragraph mark there, the non-printing paragraph mark, that is our hidden character. And you'll see if I turn hidden characters off, those disappear. But they're really handy to be able to see where they are, so we leave it on. Now, you can also make a style by styling the text first and then creating the style. It's two different ways of doing it, so let's do the second one the second way. We're going to style this Myriad Pro Bold, and we can go up here to our character formatting, and you will see that InDesign tries to sort of be helpful, and since we just used Myriad Pro, it puts it up there. And my goodness, there's a lot to choose from in Myriad Pro. And we're just going to choose Myriad Pro Bold. And right up here is the point size. We're going to choose 16. 16 isn't there, so that's fine. All we do is just type it in. And our leading, which is the space between lines, will be 18. And that's good. So now if we go to our Paragraph Styles panel, Window, Styles, Paragraph Styles, and we choose New Paragraph Style, go to Basic Character Formats, and you'll see it has taken all the character formats that we specified and automatically created a style for us. So that's cool. Just go ahead and name this style Font Title. This is a very important style because it's this style that's going to drive our table of contents. And you'll see as we go what that means. And we're going to go back down to Open Type Features and change it to Proportional Old Style. And make sure that Apply Style to Selection is checked here. That's very important. Click OK. Now we can just put our cursor in the very bottom line that says digital format, and once again get our paragraph styles going. New paragraph style. This one we're going to call digital format. Go to our basic character formats. Once again, Myriad Pro, font style, italic. And size will be 9 point, and the leading 18 point. And I don't think we have to worry about the open type features on this one. So let's zoom out. You can go in your application bar here and go to whatever will bring the whole page onto your display here. And next we're going to go and do the middle part here, this little labeling here and the character set. Before we do that, it's probably a good idea to save our file. So let's go ahead and do that. Go File, Save. If you're in my class, you're going to name this with your last name, dash your first initial, dash sample page. And let's go ahead and create a project folder, create a new folder, and title it the same way. Your last name, dash your first initial, and it's always good to have a project folder where you can put all the assets for every particular project, and file organization is an important part of what we do. So if you can select your zoom tool here and zoom in on the top half of your document. First thing that we're going to do is make a little tiny text frame here for a label. So just right between these two rules here, just make a little tiny text frame. It's got about 3 picas wide maybe. When your cursor's in there, just type in 30 points. Now, if you're not familiar with typographic terms and typographic measurements, I suggest that you watch another video that I'll also place in this playlist on typographic terms and measurements. For the moment, I'm going to assume that you know those things. So here we go to 30 point, which is going to show the size of the big text sample we're doing, and we're going to create a style to style the labels, and that will be a character style. So right over here, choose character style, new character style, and call it labels. Now you'll notice in the character styles there are many fewer options here, and we can discuss that later, but for the moment just kind of stick with me. Make sure apply style to selection is checked. Basic formats. Once again, we're going to use Myriad Pro. We're going to make it semi-bold condensed, 10 points. And the leading really doesn't matter because these are only going to be single lines. We will go back down to open type features though and choose figure style, proportional old style. And Myriad Pro has old style figures, so we will be able to use these. Next, we'll be doing this large character set here. So we'll need a type frame, making sure we're in our type tool. And go ahead and create a large type frame between the next set of rules. Here, you'll just have to take the time to keyboard your character set. And for people who are in my class, this is the basic character set. And for the rest of you, you can choose the YouTubers out there. You can choose whatever character set suits your needs and your workflow. Next, we'll be doing our text samples. And let me just go to preview mode here for a moment. You'll see we're going to have one piece of text in 12-point type with 15 points of lead, and one with 10-point type with 12 points of lead. If we go to normal view here, you can see that these are set up in separate text boxes, and there is a reason for that. It's going to speed up our production a little bit later. So zooming in on the bottom part, the bottom left-hand part of your document, we're going to leave this section between these two guides empty, and starting at the 39 pica guide, text tool, just draw a small text box. And we're going to type in here 12/15. So the 12 stands for the point size of the type, the 15 the leading. Select those and apply your character style labels. Now you'll see this is not a real fraction, but it's soon going to be. If I select this and hover over it, the OpenType feature, because Myriad Pro supports OpenType fractions, this OpenType feature becomes available, and I can just click on it and it applies a real fraction. This will only work in OpenType Pro typefaces that support real fractions. I have provided a file for my students called Zopfquote, but of course YouTubers can use any copy that you like. Just click on that and choose Open, and here it appears. We want to make sure that it's the correct size, so go ahead and select. You'll see it's 12 point, but the default leading is 14.4. Just hit that little up button and that will up it to 15. A little bit of a shortcut here. If you go to your selection tool and choose this type frame, hold down on a Mac your Shift and Option key and just move it over, and that makes a copy. Put your cursor in there, Command A, select all, and we're going to change this one to 10 point and 12. And those are our type names. Now, it really doesn't matter what typeface any of this is in right now, because we will be changing it on every page. And remember, we're still on our master page here, so this is just a formatting page. We only have a very little left to do here, and we will be done with this. Back to your type tool, and over here on the left-hand side, you can draw a text frame. And in it, I want you to put your name. And we're going to put in here an M space. This is a wide space, and you'll find them under your type menu, insert white space, M space. And you can see if we zoom in on this that it's a super wide space, and handy thing to know. Your cursor is still flashing here. What I want you to do is choose Type, Insert Special Character, Markers, Current Page Number. Now it's going to show as an A because we are on Masterpage A. But don't worry, it will display correctly on your document page. Now you're going to select that and choose the character style labels. And I want this to kick over to the right so we can add something to the character style here. Up here in our formatting menu, just click Align Right. And that should look pretty good. On the other side, we'll make a picture box or a rectangle to hold our logo, which we'll decide what that's going to be later. And just right down here, just draw a little frame. And if you want to know that you can see that it's there, you can make it a color temporarily, just so that you know that you have done that. So now our master page A is complete, and if we look at our pages menu and just choose, say, page 1, you'll see that everything that we put on the master page is appearing on page 1. And zooming down here to our page number, go to preview here, you can see that it's correctly displaying as page 1. Likewise, page 3, page 4, page 5. So auto page numbering is a really great feature, and one that in the early days of desktop publishing we would have been very happy to have, because we used to have to do that by hand. So now we're ready to jump forward and finish our project, but I am going to include a next video in case you want it on how to keyboard some of the special characters. And if you already know that, you can skip over that and go directly to the video afterwards.